Oh, baby, yo ya summer wine.
On behalf of the Pan-African Women Association in Norway, I would like to welcome everybody, who is here this morning to this annual seminar organized by Pawa. Pawa is an organization, that when it was created, the mission statement was to fight for the rights of women, girls, minority women, that will include everybody, that is living here, that comes from different parts of the world. And one of the main objectives was, to empower women, to encourage women, to be a kind of voice for the voiceless. Because we know, when you move to a new society, sometimes it takes time, before you finally adjust and settle down to the rules, regulations, social whims and caprices, and even, understanding, what to do when you get to the shop. It takes time to adjust to all that. But we had some very strong and powerful women, African women, that came together and felt they had to form an association so that they would be able to help these women get a smooth and probably easier transition into the Norwegian society. And like I was reminded earlier this morning, the group that came together, started in 2003, 15 years. When you hear 15 years, it sounds, like yesterday, but when you see a girl or a boy, that is 15 years old, that's when you realize, that these women, they've really done well. I've always tried as much as possible every year when I'm invited to attend this program, to make sure I do attend. Because I have to say, I am very humbled by what has been achieved. Nobody pays them. They use their free time, sometimes even their personal resources. That's a sacrifice, that should be appreciated. Because that's a sacrifice, that is not selfish. That's a sacrifice, because you want a better tomorrow for everybody. Because we have an African proverb that says, it takes the whole village to raise a child. And what these women are doing, they are doing for the women of today, they are doing for the women of yesterday, and most importantly, they are doing for the women of tomorrow. On that note, I'm very humbled and privileged to be the moderator of this program today. And I would like to call on one of the very, very strong women of this association, most of us call her auntie, because she's somebody who's always been there. She's somebody you can call on when you need advice. She's a member of the Pawa Association. She is the coordinator, project coordinator of the Pawa Association. She is the present president and chief executive officer of the Pawa Foundation. She is also a project coordinator of the Focus project in Kenya. And she is a project coordinator of the NSCAO Norway. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm applause and welcome Madam Bente Adiambo.
It takes courage. It takes a lot of work to stand in front of you, and it takes years to be where I am now. It takes also a lot of volunteer work to be here. It's not a matter of that you have to have something to be here. I'm very grateful and also as well recognizing the dignitaries among us. Well, Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Morocco, please welcome. Yes. The President of Inter-African Committee, Nene Bujang, welcome Nene. And our friend, Professor Inge Lisselien. Also to my team from Pawa, thank you very much. Without hard work, I couldn't be standing in front of you. Regina, Christina, thank you very much for this opportunity, for making this today occasion available. Thank you those people who took time today, leaving their valuable times to come and attend this exchange of ideas and experience. This is just a platform for every woman. Thank you. And you know, we have done a lot of things as been expressed by the moderator, which cannot be summarized in 20 minutes. I only have 20 minutes. But I will read my speech, maybe a bit like Obama a little bit, because I can't say all. I've just put them in a way that to summarize what we have been doing in the past many years, those 13 years, which cannot be, is it okay? Which cannot be summarized in 20 minutes. I'll try. I will just have to read what we have done, what we are doing right now. As of now, the organization was founded by African women living in Norway after an assessment that quite a number of Pan-African women have many common issues in relation to knowledge about their own life situation, social integration and challenges, and have had no voice or platform. That's the part of the background for formation of Pawa. Pawa Foundation mainly targets African women, men and youth with diverse cultural background based in Norway, with aims to create a platform where they can meet, exchange ideas, spread knowledge and information, learn from each other, others' experience to meet their everyday challenges. Pawa provides the arena where Pan-African women, men and youth can address various challenges affecting them in social, psychological, mental, and well-being by providing the necessary support needed in Norway. This has led to further design of proper, proactive engagement and involvement of the institutions, the Norwegian government, women like Inge Lisselien, men, youth in addressing the key issues and challenges. The turnaround strategy has been championing social change, social transformation, so that the Norwegian society appreciates and supports in this plight, since it's just a cause. We have all that we have in Norway, but we have to highlight what is good and what we should implement. And the Pawa further acts as a bridge between Pan-African society in the wider Norwegian society, and its institutions by disseminating information about Norwegian culture, the right of its citizens, with special focus on the rights of a child. I will just highlight some of the keys of our activities. You know, it's broad, and I just told you I have for 20 minutes. The foundation, the Pawa aims activities address the achievements of zero tolerance of FGM, female genital mutilation, FGM in parentheses, both in the Norwegian society and Africa. Women empowerment for development and gender equality, establishment of resources network where women can participate, exchange knowledge and experience to prevent mental health related issues. These activities are geared towards preventing, protecting, and promoting fundamental rights of women and girls. Women and girls. Members and women and children at large by breaking social isolation and encouraging a good mental health. The Pawa other activities include recruitment of participants that we do from the beginning of the year for us to have discussion groups, conducting meetings with institutions, organizations. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Conducting meetings with institutions, organizations, leaders, and resource persons. Employment opportunities in Norway. This focuses on the new arrivals, new immigrants. We come and give them information where the right places to go before they learn the language and say the importance of the language. Child welfare and child upbringing that we usually dwell on most of the time. Achievements by Pawa. Pawa conducts its recruitment activities at the beginning of the year, as I said, which brings on board individuals, including organizations. This is an activity meant to address the continuous influx of African immigrants in Norway. The recruitment process involves the use of social media, such as Facebook, websites, collaborating partners, organizations, board members, and friends of Pawa. This is a great show of inclusivity on matters so crucial and thus charting an agreeable way forward. The Foundation has been able to conduct as follows. Spearheaded a recruitment process, multi-stakeholders and resource persons, consultative forums, engage and lobby for access to employment opportunity for immigrants in Norway, child welfare, child upbringing, creating understanding on child rights, upbringing, championed by Child Protection Department. We have also one of us that's working in that department, so we are very lucky. Department in Norway to avoid misconception and conflicts. Implementation strategy towards social integration. The Foundation's methodology has been the creation of an enabling environment for exploration, interaction, positive or proactive engagement, fruitful discussions, healing and adaptation of healthy practices and actions. That was our motive. Pawa, in a bid to realize its set objectives, engages women, men, and youth on both short and long terms. Long-term interventions, which also make them fit in well in the job market or employment opportunity. In joint group discussions, information, experience, and idea sharing, they are taken through importance of attaining higher levels of education and refer them to those institutions. The women are further advised about the importance of learning the Norwegian language so as to help address communication barriers with others and the society at large. In that process, all the requirements are outlined, including policies in place and the policies references. Intensive capacity building has majorly touched on specific issues such as rights to housing, conflicts between families, mental health, and child welfare. In the partnership with other stakeholders, as NCOVTS and African Committee, institutions, the organization embraces referral on cases or interventions that we don't directly handle. So we are not standing here proud that we handle this. We only refer. They are very open to us as people of their own background. So they open up and we refer them. And we're very proud of the Norwegian government for all the policies available. This has been seen them support most of the people, women suffering from mental health in the society. Yeah. The positive engagement has also been seen women taken through all relevant laws and policies so as to avoid interpersonal conflict. We have one today from the integration department that is going to tell us what works and what has not worked. As access to available resources has been a great challenge due to lack of close contact partnership, linkage with resource persons, government and institutions. This promotes synergy, the power of working together on all interventions that help women and girls realize their full potential. Almost done. The laboratory, today's theme, in the line with 2019 theme, health and social integration challenges among Africans in Norway. Pawa has established partnership with the Norwegian government and private institutions which are helping policy influence. That's why we invited the Department of Integration from the Ministry of Education. I'm a first speaker, reader, so I was brought up. Could have been in Norway, they could have learned me to turn. Transformation and facilitation and making women and girls be the change they desire in the society. That's good. That's why Norwegians have worked on policies and etc. This concept has been the foundation's actively engage men and young people, opinion leaders, policymakers in a platform for reasoning and finally coming up with a workable solution. We have gone that several times and we have met so many opinion leaders in regard to female genital mutilation, Norwegian government institutions. That is good. The platforms have greatly helped leaders change their perception on handling people of diverse cultures to think deeply about adverse effects on emotional, psychological, physical, social, and well-being of especially women and girls. It has also been realized that male counterparts, on the other hand, do suffer in silence due to female genital mutilation practice, and that has not been openly realized, but we realized through our work. In addressing health issues, the foundation involves healthcare providers to understand that support adequately, both with the relevant information and action as required. As I tell you, our platform is only for referral. We don't do other things. When we talk about female FGM, we know the institutions that are available in Norway. We refer women, we talk to them nicely, to doctors and that. So our work is just a platform for capacity building. Now, finally, our plea and concern. Active engagement of key actors on change agenda, policymakers, that is our plea and concern. That is Pawa's plea and concern. Active engagement of key actors on change agenda, policymakers, community leaders, women, girls, young people, and men is very instrumental on the desired goal and expected outcomes. So without all these people mentioned, we are not going to reach the expected goal and desired outcomes. Have men to be empowered with knowledge as long on long terms on FGM, the female genital mutilation, in a person's social, psychological, and health, and thus join the fight against female genital mutilation. We are also working very closely only with women because we realize that when you work with women, they are silenced in the house. And if you only draw them from the house to come and listen to, when they go back, they don't have a voice to share this with their husbands. So later on, we embarked on also included men. So sometimes we talk to them jointly or separately so that they all get the information. So the conflict of interest in the house, the power women have empowered you, now you think you are the boss. This is a part of our culture. But when they come and realize that the information is very vital, the information is used according to it where it's supposed to be. Yes. We also intensify platforms meant to educate public and further men proactive engagement. I mean more robust and more fruitful engagement. It's not just we come and call them to listen, but we engage them for robust and fruitful engagement. To protect girls and for future generations. We are here for future generations. We have been there for many years, and I think the moderator just told you we started a long time ago. What about our legacy? If you don't do well, who is going to take over? Have we taught them? Have we capacity built others? So this is a platform for you women who are here of African descent today. Don't be afraid to come and share what you have. Yes, I know you'll ask what is Pawa is doing, but what are you doing for Pawa? You have knowledge, you have background, you have a lot of high information in you. Come and share with us. We give you a platform to promote other women and promote the organization. We alone, we are limited to resources. Your information is very vital to us too, because you see the change we can make. We don't see the change. You know, when you're doing something, you can't see your mistakes. The mistakes critics makes us perfect. I love critics. If you don't criticize us, we don't know where we are going wrong. And we use critics to change, to perfect ourselves. Thank you. I only conclude by saying all professionals, government and community, let's join hands in supporting the valuable in our communities so as to realize opportunity, including their full potentials. As human rights champions who are so passionate in embracing same, we can do a lot in social change and social transformation. Our belief, Pawa's belief is that together we can do and achieve so much. I'm very grateful to stand before you. It has been a process organizing the conference, doing this job for many years on volunteer basis. Most 50 or 6% is a volunteer job, but it's a platform for knowledge and exchange ideas. What we have learned is broad. You can stand here. We are not having maybe a lot of wealth, but we have the wealth of information. I ask you, all of you who are interested, to join hands and please come and capacity build us also work together. Thank you for coming all. I adore you all. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Auntie Benta, for that wonderful opening address. Like you said, Pawa gives women a platform to engage, to promote, and to realize their potentials and opportunities. It also empowers women to be able to integrate properly into society. This is what Pawa has been doing since 2003, and they've not stopped doing that. And like Auntie Benta said, we know we have resourceful women in society. So it's also a call, it's also a beckoning, asking those, who know, they have something to offer, not just to your family, micro-family, but also, to society, especially society we live in, Norway. So please join hands, encourage each other, empower each other, promote the work of each other. That's a good call. We've been talking about, what individuals who come together can do for each other. But we know in a society we don't live in a vacuum. In a society, we live respecting norms, respecting values, trying to understand, how society functions. And then we have a government. And today, we are very blessed, to have somebody, that I would like to call an insider. This is somebody, that works in the Ministry of Education and National Integration. This is a brother, that has been working with issues of integration for several years. This is a brother, that has contributed, to make sure that those of us who work in organizations have a platform where we can talk and communicate with government. It is with great pleasure and honor, that I'm welcoming Senior Advisor, Ministry of Education, Integration Department. So it's with great pleasure, that I welcome our brother, Tewasen Teshome. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Brother Joel. But I want to start by saying this is really a distinct honor for me to be here and to represent the Ministry of Education and Research. The invitation went to my department, which I'm going to show you. The leadership couldn't attend today because they had a very busy schedule, and And unfortunately, this event is on Saturdays, so people have some other plans. So I was asked to be here, and I'm really honored to be here. So I'll try to represent the ministry as a bureaucrat. Actually, normally the politicians who represent the ministry, because they are the ones who make policies and make decisions. I am a bureaucrat, and I've been working at the ministry now for the last 6.5 years. I just want to tell you my background, because I used to work in the Directorate of Integration, which I'm going to say something later. And before that, I have worked with integration since 1998. So I have my background working with this, with integration, both at the voluntary level at the Red Cross, and then later on in Tromsø Kommune, MD, and then now at the ministry. So that's also the reason I was asked to represent the department. So I'll start my presentation by going through the setting of migration policy in Norway, because I would like to focus on the integration policy. Sorry, not migration policy, on the integration policy, because part of our job at the ministry is preparing the policies which the politicians present to the society, and that is also the base of decision making. This is to give you a figure. Where do immigrants in Norway come? This is a statistic I'm sure most of you know, but to show that most immigrants come from Eastern European countries, and the majority are from Poland. This is just to give you a statistic, but I'm going directly to jump to the policy. The government platform for the current government platform was prepared, as you may know, at the start of this year, and formed by the Conservative Party, Høyre, as many of you know, the Progressive Party and Liberal Party. They addressed 6 main challenges. And these main challenges are, first of all, restructuring the Norwegian economy, fulfilling Norway's climate commitments, promoting an inclusive labor market, reducing poverty, and the 6th, and which I'm going to focus on, is significantly stepping up efforts to promote integration. It states in the platform that international migration is unpredictable, and we need to maintain a high level of preparedness to be able to respond to sudden changes in the situation. We must be more successful when it comes to integrating immigrants into the labor market. This is vital both for the individuals concerned and for the ensuring the sustainability of our welfare system. This shows how important integration is politically. And for many in the general population, the integration of immigrants and the refugees in particular is one of the most talked about issues today, as all of you know. Here we see an illustration where integration policy is placed within the Norwegian government. I'm sure some of you know these structures, and some of you may not know, but I just want to show you. In dark orange, you can see the Ministry of Education and Research, and then you have the Director of Integration and Diversity, and of course municipalities, kommuner. So these are our main forces, or in this regard. But all the others, as you may see, have some kind of responsibility with regard to integration. And our department, the Department of Integration, is located at the Ministry of Education. Actually, we have been, it's a department by the way is avdeling på norsk. So it was actually new for me to say department. So our department has been moving from ministries to ministries based on which what the prime ministers or the government wanted us to be. And starting from February this year, we were moved to the Ministry of Education. We work with integration policy targeted towards immigrant population, in particular refugees. Our subordinate directorate, as I mentioned, Directorate of Integration Diversity, is responsible for implementing the integration policy. They work closely with regional offices and the Norwegian municipalities. All municipalities almost settle refugees, so in that regard, they cooperate with most of them, or almost all of them. Boxes light orange are other ministries, directorates that we work closely with, such as Skills Norway, Kompetanse Norge, the Agency of Quality Assurance Education, located in our ministry, and the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs. I tend to translate them to Norwegian, but I don't need that, I guess. And the Ministry of Children and Equality. In addition, under the Directorate of Immigration are both reception centers, integration centers. However, the Directorate of Integration Diversity is responsible for the education program at the integration centers. Also, there are integration advisors. You may know some of are stationed at 4 Norwegian embassies in Pakistan, in Kenya, Jordan, and Turkey, working in particular with Norwegian citizens subject to limitation of freedom, forced marriage, and cases where young people are left behind in their parents' country of origin. I would like to mention here, despite the changing governments over time and changes within the institutional framework, the integration policy has been stable. There are, of course, different political viewpoints on integration, but there is an overall support across the political spectrum for most of what you will learn about here today. Just to show you again about the ministry, what roles do we have at the ministry? We coordinate the integration policy. This is, and then we have the Introduction Act, which I'm going to talk about a bit later on. Norwegian courses, citizenship. The law is also in our department. Settlement of refugees in municipalities, projects for qualification and employment, interpretation services in public sector, grants, cooperation, dialogue with civil society, which Pawa probably is one of those organizations, and then integration through education. Mainstreaming is an overall principle for the implementation of integration policy. This means that each public sector agency must ensure that their services reach all groups, including immigrants. Just a reminder, the integration policies are mainly targeted towards refugees and their families, not labor migrants. And that is when that's considering the Introduction Act. It's only focused on immigrants and on people with refugee background. This is just to give you the annual budget for the integration policy, integration work, and the main one, the bigger one, as you see, it's quite a significant amount. It's integration grant, which goes to the municipalities for both settlement, integration of refugees, and then there is some extra grant for unaccompanied minors. For settling them, and also there is for Norwegian courses and financial support for NGOs, which I just mentioned. This is a amount of money which is distributed between different what they call frivillig organisation or voluntary organizations and voluntary work within the integration framework. And in addition, the ministry has a budget for research and statistics. Just to give you a brief information about IMDI, or Directorate of Integration Diversity. It implements the policies and of course settling refugees takes place as a process of negotiation. One of the works is settling refugees, And it is the IMD which settles refugees with a dialogue with the municipalities. It's a voluntary for municipalities to accept refugees, but they are often motivated to do so by financial incentives. Our regional offices are, the IMD regional offices are responsible for practical work in connection with settlement, and they cooperate closely with reception centers and municipalities. In 2016, there is a white paper on integration policy, which is called From Reception Center to Labor Market, an Effective Integration Policy. That paper actually described quite how the integration policy, Norway's integration policy, and it defined also in many ways what are the roles of the government in securing integration. The Norwegian welfare model is dependent on high participation in the job market. The government pursues an integration policy which allows newly arrived immigrants to enter employment and education and become taxpayers and contributing citizens. This is the policy's main aim. The government's basic premise is that people shall contribute. This is very important for long-term development, not least to maintain a safe and economically sustainable welfare system. There are no obviously quick fix integration effort. Immigrants shall be met with requirements to contribute and participate. Considerable effort is expected from each and every person coming to live in Norway. At the same time, they must be provided with incentives, opportunities to participate, both in the job market and society as a whole. The society must take steps to ensure that everyone can put their abilities to use. The integration policy must be continually updated to respond to the needs of the society. That's why the Norwegian government did present a white paper on integration policies in 2016. The government emphasizes that time spent in reception centers, asylmottak, shall be spent productively. Settlement in municipalities shall occur as soon as possible after residence permit has been granted, and previously acquired skills and qualifications shall be put to use. And the white paper also specifies that the government will build on schemes that work, for example, in the introduction program, as I will come back later, but intends to contribute to a more work-oriented program and earlier skills profiling. So, in short, the policy is summarized in this way. Immigrants and their children should be enabled to contribute and to participate in Norwegian society. This is the policy's aim. Immigrants in Norway differ in many respects. Some have completed higher education, have substantial relevant work experience, and are fluent in many languages, while others have little or no formal education, and some are illiterate. Some start working from day one after arrival. For others, it's more difficult to find employment. The Norwegian welfare model is dependent on high participation in the job market. The basic premise is that everyone shall contribute, as I mentioned earlier. This is important for long-term development, not least to maintain a safe and economically sustainable welfare system. Considerable effort is expected from each and every person coming to live in Norway. At the same time, as I mentioned earlier, must be given incentives and opportunities. So this is a core in the Norwegian integration policy. Employment and education is a basis for participation and sense of belonging in society. We must make better use of skills acquired abroad. Knowledge of Norwegian language and civics is essential in working in social life. Equal education opportunities for children enable social mobility. NGOs are important partners in local integration. And to promote social cohesion and prevent violent extremism, among other things. So efforts are required of all instances, the authorities, local communities, NGOs, the job market, business sector, and so on. So I'll just say briefly about the introduction program, which I have mentioned now several times. The objective of the introduction program is participation as soon as possible in work, education, and society. It is both a right and duty. The government aims 70% of the participants in work, participate in work and education after finished program. That's the goal. The results show that between 60 to 63% are employed or under education upon completion. The result for men is 70%, while for women is 52%. And also for those who may not, the program lasts around 2 years, but for those who may not manage within 2 years, so there is a possibility for them to extend to a 3rd year. Job opportunity programs, qualification program for immigrants, special targeted at women who are not in contact with or reachable by the mainstream public qualification system. This is one of the programs which is called Jobbsjansen. So it focuses, among other things, stay-at-home women with immigrant background who may be supported by their spouses or other family members. There are not many, but for those who really are recruited and manage to come to this program, we see that there is a good result. Around 70% end up with working life. And in many ways, the part of the introduction program for those with refugee background, but for others, language training, Norwegian course. All of you, all of us, including me, who arrived in Norway, have somehow gone through the Norwegian courses, and they shape us in many ways, and they are very key in order to succeed in Norway. So the Norwegian courses are very important. Target groups are refugees and those who are married to Norwegian citizens get free training. So this, you may know this. The training must be taken within 3 years after one has been granted residence in Norway, and people are entitled to 50 hours of social studies in a language they understand. These are the things most of you know. So I just want to say something about ongoing reforms. The government just presented a new integration strategy. The new integration strategy was presented this Monday, last Monday, and it has 4 core areas. It's labor market participation, education and qualification, everyday integration, and the right to live a free life. Education and qualification provide children and adolescents with immigrant background with good Norwegian knowledge and basic skills through quality education from kindergarten through upper secondary school. And also the same area is increased labor participation among immigrants through better qualification and education. When it comes to work, there is a need for increased employment among immigrants, and that more people get stable foothold in working life. And the third area is everyday integration. As a Norwegian is beautiful, it says hverdagsintegrering. It includes anything which is outside what we call education and work. So everyday life, our meeting with the society. So there is an increased focus on that, how to secure integration through meeting at local levels, and it also actually includes settlement of people in different municipalities. It includes support systems for migrant organizations and other organizations, and so on. And the last one is the right to live a free life. That includes building and breaking down barriers to individual freedoms, including preventing negative social control. Yeah, these are the, yeah. So the education and qualification, as I mentioned, strengthen early efforts for the development of basic skills and Norwegian knowledge. There is a lot of focus on Norwegian knowledge. And the government puts a lot of effort to improve the courses, among other things, by improving qualification of Norwegian course teachers, and also there is an increased competence among staff in kindergarten, elementary school, and higher education in order to protect minority language children throughout the course of education. And also there is a focus on quick start start of qualification for newcomers, among other things, starting from 1st of September. Asylum people live in asylum centers, in reception centers, are required to go to Norwegian courses. So before it was not obligatory for the municipalities, but starting from 1st September 2018, so municipalities are obliged to give Norwegian courses. Work improves strength and qualification labor market measures aimed at immigrants. This is also one of the areas where the Ministry of Social Affairs has been prominent, and they have participated in this program. Among other things, they want to stimulate employers to increase awareness of diversity and better use of migrant skills. There is a program the government is working on now for an inclusion of immigrants generally in the labor force. And that one, I think the Ministry of Work and Social Affairs has a bigger part in it. As I mentioned, the everyday integration is about countering segregation, promoting common meeting places, and understanding of basic values and norms in Norwegian society. By the way, I just want to thank you, the Pawa, for this. This is what we call a meeting place, because generally people with immigrant background need such meeting places where they could share ideas. And as you mentioned, Madam Mahan, you mentioned that you invited women to come forward and to use this platform to participate. I really, really, really support you with that. I really support you with that, because everybody runs his own life. All of us run in any way, because we need to win we need to secure our daily lives. We need to work, we need to make sure that we exist, but at the same time participating and sharing ideas and knowing more. And also I just want you to use opportunity to invite politicians. I came as a bureaucrat today, but I was telling my brother here, please invite politicians next time. Invite the education minister, the minister himself. He would really come, I would think. Invite him and ask him questions, and then by involving and participating, and also at the local level, at the municipality level, so we make sure that we lift ourselves and being part of the society. So I work at the ministry. I work with voluntary organizations, and Fakrahi I know a lot because Mira Center is one of those organizations the government works with, and I have been with the minister to visit Mira Center and other organizations. And I want to mention that because as I showed you here, there is around 107 million kroner this year was distributed between voluntary organizations on working on integration. But there is a big variation between organizations based on their capacity to engage and to engage in their communities, but also in creating opportunities, arenas to discuss ideas and bring solutions. So I just want you I just want to mention the invitation by the chairman here. And the last area which you also mentioned is the right to live a free life. It's building and breaking down barriers to the individual's freedom, including preventing negative social control. Provide health services that are available, competent and effective, including ensuring better help for people who violate family and networking. It sounds very strange in English, but in Norwegian it sounds much more. Ingelisa, I'm sure, going to talk about it because she's an expert on it. But this is one of the areas also get a lot of focus with the new strategy, with the new government strategy. Among other things, FEGM gets attention and what they call tvangsekteskap. And the aim of the government is obviously to change attitudes and practices in affected communities, and also strengthen research and increase knowledge sharing. So in terms of research, Ingelisa and are working very active on it. So if you need more information, statistical information or other information, so you can just go to the government webpage, government.no. That is in English and most important, of course, in Norwegian also. So, and IMDI has a very nice webpage. I advise you to read it, and if you want to know more about the integration policy. And otherwise, for those who may not read English, so this report, the Norwegian Ministry's Immigration and Integration 2016-2017 report, it's an annual report. Next year we are going to get a new report. Please follow because it's a report which is covers a lot of areas within the migration and integration. It's called IMO report, where Norway reports to the international organs. But its idea is just to inform about the different work Norway does in terms of migration and integration. And the last not least, SSB, you may know, if you want to know, if you are interested in statistics, so you may just read at the SSB Invandring og Invandrare. So, thank you very much.
I think our brother, deserves another round of applause. That was a very, very eloquent, and thank you very much. For the insights. We've heard about the government platform for integration. We've also heard about the strategy, integration strategy, mentioning, the labor market integration, mentioning education and qualification, everyday integration, and the right to live free lives. Those were the highlights. But we also had, you said something about, building the capacity for social cohesion and social mobility, which is very important, because if we look back, at the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, I think it's the 8th point on that program that talks about decent work and economic growth, because it's just a platform so that everybody will be able to live a decent, good, and sustainable life. And if that's what is included, in the government strategy, I think it's something, that really gladdens our hearts. So, Brother Teshome, thank you very much. We are very pleased to have you here. And please, brothers and sisters, You know, I mean, like I said, I mean, he's a very modest person, you know, but he works very close to the government. So if you have questions, or sometimes, I mean, maybe there are things, I mean, that you want answers, you know, when it comes to integration policies, I think he's the right man to talk to. So, brother, thank you very much.
Yeah, just stand. I want to. Yeah, what I'm supposed to say, but yeah, thank you very much. It was very good to hear from you today. And the most important thing is that we have to see how we can move forward on this. Because in principles, it is what you say, the policies. But in reality, it is not working. Not for the Africans. It's not working at all. So, but we have to do something about it. So, otherwise, it was very good. Your English was good. Thank you very much.
I hope our brother will be able to stay so that we'll be part of the panel. Because I mean, I guess, I mean, most of us, I mean, that listened to his topic or to his lecture, I mean, I have questions to ask. So I hope you'll be able to stay and be a part of the panel later. Power is not only about women. Power is also about everybody. That includes even the child, the youth. Power is also about men. Because they recognize the fact that behind every successful woman, there is a man. But as it is now, I'm honored, I mean, to call on one of our youths in society. I mean, this is somebody, I mean, who has graduated and has a diploma in missionary work. We're studying what is called international ICOTE, and that's the computer technology and design, majoring in design. He's also a youth representative of the NSCAO. He will be here to talk about a sickness, I mean, that is quite known to most of us from Africa. That is called sickle cell anemia. I was talking to Auntie Bente the other day, and I told her, I mean, that when I was growing up, I mean, I had a couple of friends, you know, who had sickle cell. You know, so me, I'm kind of used, or I know a little bit, you know, but I don't have a full knowledge of what it is. You know, I know most of us probably know somebody, I mean, especially those of us from Africa, we probably know somebody, I mean, who has sickle cell anemia. You know, so it is with great pleasure, I mean, that I would like our brother Churchill Odiero, to come and please enlighten us more on the issue of sickle cell anemia. Please give me one more round of applause.
Ja, jeg heter Churchill Odiero, jeg er 26 år gammel. Jeg studerer medie, IKT og design i Høgskolen i Volda. Så foreløpig bor jeg i Sunnmøre. Jeg er ungdomsleder i NSKO, og først vil jeg fortelle litt om hva NSKO står for. NSKO ble etablert i 2005 for å fremme og øke bevisstheten, samtidig behandlingsmetoder og tjenester for personer som lider av sickle-cell-anemi i Norge. Det er et behov for mer informasjon og en dypere forståelse av denne typen sykdom, både på et medisinsk, sosial og personlig basis. NSK fungerer som en informasjonsmedium mellom pasienter og helsetjenester for å redusere stigma, som ofte fører til større smerte og mentalt stress for pasienter og deres familier. Målgruppen vår er folk som lider av sickle-cell-anemi i Norge, og deres pårørende, helsepersonell og utdanningsetaten. Temaene jeg skal snakke om i dag er: hva er sickle-cell-anemi? symptomene man får, helse og skole og utdanning. Sigdcelleanemi er en kronisk arvelig blodsykdom som man blir medfødt med. Dette forårsaker anemi, lav blodprosent. Årsaken til at man får sykdommen er en skade i et av genene som lager hemoglobin. Og hemoglobin er det stoffet som binder oksygen til seg i det røde blodlegemet. Og dermed gjør det mulig å transportere oksygen i blodet. Og når det er lavt, sier vi at personen har anemi. For å få sigdcelleanemi må man ha arvet et sykdomsgen fra mor og far, og da kan du si at du har sigdcelle. Har du bare én, så er du bærer av sykdomsgenet. Som du ser, så er navnet sigdcelle kommer jo fra at den normale røde blodcellen blir halvert og ser ut som en sigd. Derfor får vi navnet sigdcelleanemi. Symptomene. Har du sigdcelleanemi, kan du allerede oppleve de første 6 månedene av livet ditt at du får symptomer. Disse kan være alvorlige infeksjoner. Gjennom tiden, ungdomsårene og voksen alder, kan du få akutte episoder med tette blodårer. Man merker gjerne at man har gule øyne, langsom vekst, dårlig syn og dårlig kondisjon og slapphet. Med tette blodårer kan dette forårsake at man får sterke smerter, særlig i knokler, men også i indre organer. Er dette ikke behandlet, kan dette føre til store konsekvenser for pasienten. Ofte er det nødvendig med at man blir innlagt i sykehus når man har slike episoder. En annen hyppig problem med folk med sigdcelle er akutt brystsmerter. Dette gir feber, hoste, tungpusthet og brystsmerter. Nå er ikke jeg en faglært person, så jeg snakker kun fra mine erfaringer. Og når det kommer til helse, så dette skal besvare på mest mulig måte hva som har hjulpet meg gjennom oppveksten min. Og når man skal spesielt ta en høyere utdanning med sigdcelleanemi, er det viktig at man passer på helsen sin. Unngå å eksponere deg for store temperaturforskjeller, eller å være ute i alt for kaldt vær. Skal man ha et godt liv, må du ha et godt kosthold. Du må rett og slett endre livsstilen din. Spis sunt, ta ekstra kosttilskudd, vitaminer, ta de medisinene du har fått av legen. Snakk med legen din. Dette her hjelper deg med å få mer energi i hverdagen, og du slipper regelmessig sykehusbesøk. Samtidig så er det veldig viktig at du er i en treningsprogram for å holde kroppen din aktiv. Jeg startet med å trene i år, og det er nok den beste beslutningen jeg har gjort. Men det er viktig at du snakker med legen din, og jeg mener at det er viktig at du skaffer deg en personlig trener for å hjelpe deg til å skaffe de riktige treningsaktivitetene og øvelsene som kan gjøre det best mulig for deg å få en optimalt hverdag. Når det kommer til skole og utdanning, er det viktig å ta en god og engasjerende utdanning som gir deg motivasjon til å fullføre det. Skolen er et tøft sted, men det kan også være det å ha sigdcelleanemi kan være tøft, spesielt om man går på skolen. Spesielt for barn og ungdommer. Skolen er et sted der vi skal ha det gøy, vi skal lære, du skal få en god utdanning. Da er det viktig at du kommuniserer godt med skolen din, med lærerne dine og legen din på hva de kan gjøre for å gi deg best mulig råd til å fullføre skolen din. Da er det viktig at du forteller om situasjonen din, og hvordan de kan tilrettelegge deg for å være best mulig. Som regel vil de alltid hjelpe deg, og det er alltid noe de kan gjøre. Skolen er der for å hjelpe deg akademisk. Derfor er det viktig at du blir flink til å kommunisere godt det du ønsker å oppnå. Det er kjempeviktig at du engasjerer deg i et miljø der du opplever at du kan snakke fritt om dette du har sigtelandet med. Gjør du ikke dette her, så vil du eventuelt slutte. Det har skjedd, det har jeg opplevd. Du kan studere hva enn du vil. Bare sørg for at du tar det langsomt og rolig, og at du prater med lærerne dine. Det er viktig at du lærer å stå på egne bein, og spesielt jeg som har flyttet hele veien til Volda. Jeg har ikke mamma og pappa der, så jeg må virkelig jobbe for å sørge for at jeg er optimal hver dag på skolen. Jeg kan ikke drikke, jeg må virkelig ta vare på meg selv. Hvis jeg blir innlagt, så er det kun meg der. Det er ingen som kommer til å ta vare på meg. I tillegg så har vi statlige midler du kan få hvis du har sigtelandet. Du kan få ekstra stipend, og dette gjør det faktisk lettere for deg å bo hjemmefra. Du trenger ikke å jobbe mens du tar en utdanning, for du får faktisk nok til husleie og de medisinene dine til å spise riktig, til å til og med trene. Og med det så har jeg ikke så mye mer, for jeg har Så da har dere noen spørsmål?
He's told us, that sickle cell anemia, is something, that is hereditary, that develops, because of some kind of deficiency of the red blood cells. That's hemoglobin, in the body system. And so he has just summarized, what is required or what you can do, to ease or facilitate your ability to cope, if you have the sickness. Like he's told us, he's a student, he lives far away from his close relatives, but because of the knowledge he has, and because of what, he can do for himself, he's been able to live comfortably, in Volda, where he's studying, without any problems. So that's just a summary, of what it is, to live with sickle cell. So now, I don't know, if he will be opportune, to be with us during the panel section, but he's asking us, if we have any questions for him. But I think, because of time, I think we can keep the question until when we have the panel section. Thank you.
Yeah, in spite of the fact you spoke in Norwegian, but I'm going to talk in English. This was good. You have the courage to talk about this disease that is troubling you, for example. And it's very good that you were able to talk about it. So it's very good. Thank you very much for giving us the information about sickle cell anemia. So with that, I have to give this to you for the courage of saying something about that. Thank you.
The next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is the professor at the Norwegian Center for Post-Traumatic Stress, NCOVTS. And this is a lady, that has been steadfast in her support for African organizations. And most of us, who attend seminars, by voluntary organizations, African voluntary organizations, will know this lady. She's not a stranger to us. She's always been supportive. It is with great honor, humility, that I would like to introduce and call upon Professor Ingelise Lien to come and talk about the driving forces for FGM continuation, regardless of massive awareness creation against it in many countries. Ladies and gentlemen, please give her a warm round of applause.
Yes, hello all of you. Yeah, I'm going to talk about meaning making for children because I'm going to focus on the driving forces. And driving forces is at many levels. Driving forces against FGM, or the resistance against the abandonment campaigns, for instance, that people have inside themselves on the personal level, that they don't take in information, they don't want to hear. Or the social pressure that they are exposed to in their community. Or the campaigns and that is going on. So I will look at some of these points to see how it can be a driving force against abandonment campaigns. Well, here we see, I took a picture of Africa, but of course FGM has spread all over the world now. And we used to say that first 30 and then 140 million women are cut. But now we say that 200 million of women are cut because we have brought in Indonesia. So it has increased the number of women being cut. And I'm using all kinds of words today. It's not of any political interest. I'm going to say FGM. It means the same as cut, FGC, and I can use the word circumcision. Sometimes I just take the word that pops up in my mind. So it's not any political argument behind the words that I will use. As we see here, there are countries that has a very high degree of FGM. Somalia, 98%. Ethiopia, 74%, but it has gone down from a higher percentage, not much down. Sudan, it used to be almost the same amount as in Somalia, but it has gone down. In Egypt, it has also been very high, and Egypt has a high amount of educated women. But see, 91% of women are cut. And then we can see other countries. Here we say very little. In Kenya, the amount has gone down. In Gambia, it's 76%, and it's in Senegal 26%. And it is in some of the tribes or some of the ethnic groups, there are 96% in Gambia, and they can live side by side with other groups where there is almost no cutting. So, in spite of having had abandonment campaigns in Africa since the 1920s, people are a little bit discouraged and saying, how come we've not got rid of this practice? How come that there has been so little decline? Why? So I will try to explain it by looking a little bit on Somalia and on the Gambians, which I know the most. I interviewed some circumcisers in Gambia, and Randi Saur, who is sitting here, she took part in that study, and she also interviewed circumcisers. And I made a model out of this. But before that, I show you the model, I will focus a little bit of the learning process. Jon Håkon Schultz and Jon Håkon Schultz was also in the Gambia, and we were thinking about how do children learn about this procedure, and why is it so deeply internalized? Why do children internalize the justification for FGM in a very deep manner? So then we will look at the ritual. Because both men and women in African countries, they are subjected to a rite passage. And the rite passage is something that is arranged as a ceremony when boys are going from being just young boys until being grown-up men. Usually there is a cutting ceremony then. And when the boys are having the cut-offs, the rite de passage, they are often they have to have pain, they have to have hardship, they are not getting enough water, they are freezing, so they are put to hardship in order to increase their status in community. So when they increase their status in community, they are put on trial. And the trial that they are put on can be very, very hard. But when they have done this, they are gathered in a community, and then they come out and they are celebrated and they are seen as very grown-up men. The same thing happens for women, for girls, that they are put to hardship. And the cutting procedure can be seen like that, because a little girl is changed. She's getting a new status. She's changed from just being a little girl to being a circumcised girl. And when she becomes a circumcised girl, she gets a lot of respect. And she is cherished. So then she increases her status in the society. But before she can increase the status in the society, she is put to very strong hardship. She is put to enormous pain. So I will try to describe a circumcision ritual in the Gambia, which was told us, and Nene Bojang was along as well with Ramdi Saur. It was told us in the Gambia in a period when it was not criminalized in Gambia. Now it's criminalized from 2015. But at that time, people spoke very open about the circumcision ritual because they didn't feel any shame, they didn't feel it was unlawful, so they were very open about it. So I organized it in different rooms. In a village, it's done in rooms. When it's done out in the forest is separated into different arenas, into different rooms. So the rooms in a house is more or less equal to a room out in the forest. So I take the example of Fatou. Fatou is a girl. She told about her circumcision ritual. She said that she was told by the mother that we are going for a party. So you have to dress up. So she was dressed up, very beautiful clothes, and the mother took her to a room in a neighbor's house somewhere. And in that room there were lots of people. They were dancing and singing, and they were having a lot of fun, and it was a lot of noise. And the mother was happy, and Fatou was happy. So that is the first room. And then somebody came out and took Fatou, and she was around 4. They took her off her mother's, from her mother, and into another room where she was undressed. And she wondered, why should she be undressed? This was a very strange thing to do. To undress her, she was in a party, but they undressed her and they put holy water on her. And then she was blindfolded. She had blindfold on front of the eyes. She couldn't see anything. And then somebody came and took her. And they took her to a third place. And she was put on a mat. And then some women came and held her arms and held her legs. And she didn't know, because she was blindfolded. She was lying there. She didn't know what's going to happen to her. And then suddenly, without her knowing, the circumciser had come down. It's very important that no girl knows who's the circumciser. The circumciser came down, and suddenly when she was lying there, she had the most terrible pain in her private part. It was so terrible. And when you talk to people, or women, about that, it's the most terrible pain that they can imagine. And then after she had that terrible pain, when she feels she's afraid she would die, then they take her to Arena 4, which is where? There. And there she's laid down on other mats together with a lot of girls who had been done this before. So they lie together there, making in a kind of community. They are together, they have experienced the same thing, and then the mother comes in, and they say, oh, you're so good, oh, we all love you so much. So some of the girls say that they've never been so much loved as they have been in this area here. So here it's healing, and they are cared for, and they get goodies, and they get a lot of love, and they have a lot of teaching about what to behave, how to behave in that area. Somalis, they have more or less, but it's carved out differently. The same ritual. But the Somalis, they have been told that they are going to be cut. So they are not blindfolded. So they think, some of them look forward. They say, oh mama, it's my turn. Please do it now. I don't want to do it. You know, I want to become a grown-up girl. And they're not prepared for all the pain. And the cutting that they experience is much more elaborate, because they are not only cut, the private part, but that they are also sealed, so they're stitching. So it's a very hard procedure for them. But they also have to lie together in a community, and they are taught, and they have time together. So what I would like to say is that this ritual has something here which is a traumatic event. It is a traumatic event, and the girls could be very much traumatized if it wasn't for the last arena here, where they are healed physically, and they are tried to be healed psychologically, and they are given explanations, and they have been taught now that, you know, my darling, this is necessary for you in order to become. So the justification of the ritual is given here. And it's given such a strong justification, because you have to compensate for the traumatic event here by saying and trying to instill that it's worth it. It's very important. And when you are a little girl, you learn from this procedure. You learn from it very deeply, because you are not very critical at that age. You are not very critical, and you take in what is told you. And you know what pain it was. So you think that the explanations you are getting must be very, very reasonable. And it is done by your parents and your aunties. So, of course, it must be necessary. So in that way, you internalize it at a very, very, very deep level. But then, of course, there are countries who doesn't have a ritual like this. In other countries, in Ethiopia and in Eritrea, among some there, it is done when the girl is so small. She doesn't really know the context around her, cannot explain anything. So what one can wonder about is if it is equally traumatic for a baby, but that we don't know very much about, because babies cannot talk. So also in other countries, the age is going down because it's criminalized. So the age is going down, so it's done more and more on babies. And also the change is that it's sometimes now done more and more in hospitals. It's medicalized. So when it's medicalized, you get the painkillers, and sometimes they take more of the flesh, or sometimes they take less. It depends on the doctors. But it's in some, for instance, in Egypt, sorry. In Egypt, it's very much medicalized. So the medicalization of it and doing it on small babies, we don't really know if they manage to internalize the explanations in the same degree. And because it's criminalized, time spent here is very much reduced. It is very, very much reduced. So that the healing, psychological and physical healing, is done in the houses. So then maybe, we don't really know, but maybe that can affect the psychology of it and the understanding of the ritual and the justification for it. So after the ritual, of course, the way it was is that the girl, when going in here, she was separated from there, and then she, inside here, going through this ritual, her status in society increased. And she came out as something more and something better seen from the community than before. And therefore, she would think it's worthwhile. This is a good tradition, it's worthwhile. I become something extra, I get the respect. But then they are celebrating it in the streets, but of course now, when in many countries, they cannot celebrate in the streets as they used to do before. So here is a traumatic event from the DSM-4. The person experienced, witnessed, or was confronted with an event or events that involved actual or threatened death or serious injury or threat to the physical integrity of self or others. And the person's response involved intense fear, helplessness, or horror. So, of course, we can explain the cutting procedure as a traumatic event. But, of course, because of the last stage, or the healing process in the woods for many months, it doesn't mean that the person becomes traumatized. Some will perhaps be traumatized, and not necessarily all. But that we have not really know about. Another thing is that the cutting or the circumcision or the FGM procedure is often linked to other procedure. It's linked to marriage. It's first you have your 4 years old, or 6 years, or 7, or 10, and then you do it because it is a way of preparing for this wedding. And the wedding ceremony itself is very painful in societies where there has been cutting. Because then the man has to open the woman, and the man has to see the woman suffer. And it's hard for a man. We have done different studies, have been done in different society, showing how hard it is for men to see that women suffer. They don't want women to suffer. But they have to prove their masculinity by opening the woman. And in Somalia, I've heard that the wedding ceremony is so that they are taken care of. They have caretakers during the wedding ceremony, because both the woman and the man will actually suffer while they have their marriage. And then later, of course, when they are going to give birth. And this is about the type 3, the pharaonic circumcision. So what happens now, seems to, in Somalia, is that there is a transition from the pharaonic circumcision to the Sunnah one, that they take less. So that is a change. Some people think that such a change is not really a good change, that you go from pharaonic to Sunnah. But for others, they say that it's better they are doing less than they are doing so much. So they think it's an improvement. So going to the less type, some people feel it's an improvement, but perhaps we don't really know. So, yeah, so the reason why I will tell you about the bucket theory of knowledge. I mean, I just use that metaphor because we have a tendency to think that we just give information to the girls, and then about the health consequences, about the danger of dying, the danger of trauma, the danger of different health, short-term and long-term. But you know, it is not like that you just fill the bucket with new knowledge and then the knowledge will make you stop cutting. Because, as I tried to tell you, it is still a lot of knowledge in there. It's still, and it's so deeply internalized, so that this old knowledge that you learned when you were a little child is creating a filter, so that you filter out new knowledge. So it is possible to come to Norway, for instance, and go to school and go to medical school, for instance, and hear that, oh, you know, there are short-term and long-term health consequences. Did you know that? And then you can get such information, but you can think, oh, but it doesn't really apply to us because my mother, she lived until she was 60. And I know a lot of old women, they didn't die. So you use your knowledge about from the village, and you put the filter, and you say, this doesn't apply to me. I'll tell you about myself. I went to Pakistan, and I interviewed a lot of imams in Pakistan about Islam. And I thought it was very interesting. And then they said to me, why don't you convert? But I had the filter inside. I said, I cannot convert to Islam, you know, I'm Christian. I have a mother and father. I cannot change my attitude because they will be so unhappy, and I am a Christian. So I had the filter in my head. I didn't convert to Islam. So, and that is for most people, that they can discard the knowledge that they get. So I have taking knowledge requires that you are a special person. So you change from the idea that FGM is very important to FGM is not good, it is bad. And that is a very strange change, and it requires a person to be special, and it requires a person to open up and take in new knowledge. And not all people do that. Not all people can do that. So that can be, let's see. So, yeah, I hope I done. Okay. Yeah, I told you, because not many people can do it, because we take in knowledge and we don't really take it deeply. But a few people take it deeply, and that is the pioneers, and they are pioneers. And I show you, this is a pioneer. This is Aissatou Touré, who came to Norway and gave a presentation about FGM. She tried to convince the Gambian and also the Pawa women who are also here that you must stop this practice. And in the beginning they were very angry at her. But then she revealed that she herself was cut. She started to sing songs from the circumcision ritual. And then she managed to move people in the audience. So many stopped and became pioneers, like the Pawa women here, and like Nene and those in IIC became pioneers and working against FGM. So that is pictures of them. So you have to spread knowledge, but if you have to believe in the person who talks. So I just have this belief. So the authority of the person. So who would you believe in here? I guess I'm not sure, but most of you, I guess, would listen to Trump and not to Obama. So that is the authority of the person who speaks is very important. So if you're going to change people's attitude, you need to have people with authority that you can identify with, like Aissatou Touré. So here from some years ago. So then it's Gary Mecker's theory of change. He has written an article about changing attitude to FGM. And he says that to change a convention, because FGM is a convention, everybody thinks that it is necessary, for instance in Somalia and also many in Gambia and other places. And if you are not cut, you don't belong to the community. And everybody wants to belong to the community. Everybody wants to be like everybody else. They don't want to be extorted. They don't want to be different. They want to be like everybody else. So if everybody else is cut, they don't want to be the only one that is not cut. So therefore, to change this idea that everybody must be cut, you have to change 1/3 of the community first. You have to have pioneers first, and then you have to have some new pioneers and some new pioneers until 1/3 of the population has changed their views. And then automatically there will come a tipping point where everybody will change. That's his theory. The tipping point will come when 1/3 of the women have changed their attitude. And what he says is there is a belief trap. There is a belief. We are trapped in our beliefs. There is a trap. We are trapped in the belief. And what is the most important belief that we are trapped in? The belief that women's sexuality is so strong. It's so incredibly strong that women who are not cut, they go wild. It's so strong. They have such an immense sexuality. So that men cannot really satisfy them. So they are unsatisfiable. And because they are unsatisfiable, something must be cut off because they have to be less. So that is the trap. And therefore one has to discuss sexuality. Because women's sexuality is not like that. It's not, they're not that hungry. They are not that hungry. So because of this belief, it keeps it going. So we have to focus on sexuality, women's sexuality, to make a sensible and reasonable discussion that a woman is just she's not more sexually crazy than men. Well, men are actually more sexually crazy. And so, yeah, that's a very important discussion to make, to open up that trap. We must open up that trap that women have crazy sexuality. And then he says we must have village-based discussions that are holistic, human rights perspective, and then declarations. And it's working on the village basis, on declarations. Oh, here are the pioneers first to get 1/3. Yeah, he says that early adapters must be the first and then second adapters, and then the tipping point is reached at which time community abandonment would be stable if enacted. So, but it's difficult. So here are declarations. They do it in Tostan. They have this Tostan movement. This is a bottom-up village kind of abandonment campaign. They now do this village-based abandonment campaign in IAC in Africa, in Tostan. So they do a lot of this. So this is the usual way of doing abandonment, having discussions on the village level about all of these issues. Now, is this, like, what is happening? Yeah. So then, of course, there is also criminalization going on in different countries. But it's very hard in countries where the state is weak and law enforcement is weak to enforce the criminal laws. So it's not really done. And so I've told you, difficulties changing ideas is very difficult. And then I'm going to summarize because my time is up. The ritual and the way it is set up create traumatic stress, and that traumatic stress create a need for justifications. And you more traumatize the girl, the more need for justification. It has to be worthwhile. And then the belief trap, the ideas about sexuality, which makes it difficult to change. And then the chain of rituals, it hangs together, those rituals. And then, of course, there is distrust in the knowledge from outside, thinking that, oh, no, the Western world is coming here and they will change our culture, and we don't like our culture to be changed. and they are coming here is imperialism. So there is distrust also in money from outside on the campaign. Well, they want the money, but you know, they're distrusting it. But then there is this opposition between some men who want women to be cut. And the reason is polygamy, because they need women not to have much sexual potency, because they want to have many women and they cannot satisfy them all. So they have to be satisfied at a lower level. You know. So that is a reason why men want them to be cut, because they cannot satisfy them. And then a marriage market that demands that a woman is cut is a driving force against stopping it. And then religious beliefs. But it is becoming more and more a shame in Muslim countries that FGM is linked to Islam. Because, so then, for instance, the Islamic Bank in Africa has given money for many campaigns against FGM. They want to show that this has nothing to do with Islam. And that is a wrong misconception. And then, of course, it's social pressure. I always talked about it before, that people want to be like everybody else. They don't want to be expelled from the society because they are not cut. They don't want to be shouted at. They don't want to be hit in the head. There was a circumciser in the Gambia. She got some money to start a shop. She stopped circumcising. And the village people came and destroyed her shop. Yeah. So, of course, we are all afraid of being excluded from our best friends or our community. And then, of course, media is not used effectively. We could use a lot of other communication channels. We could have role models, like the First Lady of Burkina Faso, who's been a role model, and that's a top-down kind of strategy. And then, of course, medicalization is something that people think everybody think we do not want to destroy our children. We want to be nice to our children. We love our children. So mothers who do this love their children. They do it for a reason. They love their children. So then instead they will send them to hospital so that they should not be traumatized. And of course, doing babies is a way that will make it difficult to stop it, because then they cannot explain themselves. So we must have bottom-up strategies and top-down strategies and use the synergies of different strategies. So that is, I shall not do this one. I shall say thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor, for that quite insightful and elaborate lecture on FGM. As I'm sure we are all aware of, I mean, it's against the Norwegian laws to circumcise the female child in Norway, or even export them to different countries. And like the professor was saying, I think it's all about being empowered so that we'll be able to educate our friends, our families, and our relatives back home about the negative side of circumcision. So for those of us who still come from countries, or who come from countries who still practice this harmful tradition, because I think it has become a tradition. It started probably, as a form of socialization, and it has grown over the years to become a tradition. Personally, I don't believe it's got anything to do with religion, but as it is, it's not practiced in Norway. I don't think it is. I don't know of any case in Norway, but I know, it is quite practiced. Like we saw the map in different parts of Africa, Asia, So I will just say, if you have questions about, details, or if you have questions about what you can do to contribute to the fight against FGM. You should stick around and ask questions later. We'll be taking a break, a lunch break.
Welcome. Before you stand up, please, just want to thank her for capacity building. Before I want some women here to come and help me hand over. The other pioneers. Nene, can you come to the stage? Regina and Christina. Agatha, I want these women to help me present to this pioneer because she's capacity builds everybody. He has no border.
Please do that.
Yeah, thank you. This is... Yeah. Let us all put our hands together in this. Yeah, for this capacity builder woman, the lady who has really done her best to give capacity building to wherever she's needed. And we thank her very much. You are our role model. Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor. Thank you. Then we have to go to lunch. Lunch.
Oh, baby, yo ya sama wai. Hamgane yo suma fukat nyarga motakhir sasune mangile khelat motakhir sasune mangi sabo yo hamgane yo ya samawai yo hamgane yo suma fukat nyarga motakhir sasune mangile khelat motakhir sasune mangi sabo alele yo bagana Motakh dumatai, yo ya sama baby. Motakh manekai, yo ya sama baby. Dumala musabai, yo ya sama baby. Duma musatai de la wayal. Duma musatai de la begal. Duma musatai de la wayal. Duma musatai de la begal. Duma musatai, oh baby, oh, Duma musatai. Alele yo bagana, motakhi sasune masopunala, man somala bogolo, Duma la donwo, mejare la chio, somala bogolo. Alele yo bagana.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope we've all been able to get something to eat and probably to drink. In our midst, we have a lot of entrepreneurs. Some are known, some are not known. And the program today, is also about encouraging each other. The program today is about giving each other a platform. The program today is about socializing as Africans. First and foremost as Africans, but as human beings. And in that respect, I'll be seizing this opportunity, to welcome one of our female entrepreneurs in this society. She'll be able to tell you how long she's been doing her business, but I've known her for several years. And I knew her because I happened to get into our office. I was looking for a kind of travel agency, and I got into our office. And this is some years back. And she's still in her business, moving on. So I think she'll need our support, but I will let her, get the opportunity, to inform us on what our business is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome Rosemary Keno from Safaris.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rosemary Yildinas. I'm from Kenya, and I've been here in Norway from 1995. Keno Safaris is our company. We started in 1995, and we specialize only with Africa and the islands near Africa. That is Seychelles, Mauritius. What we are special with is Africa. We have an intensive knowledge about Africa, the destination. We know them in and out. And that's what we try to tell those people who are going to Africa. They use our local knowledge. I'm a Kenyan. I have a lot of knowledge about those countries. We travel to those countries, and we see what is good for our clients. And that's what we offer them back. So every day when I wake up in the morning, I burn to give the little information. I burn to meet my clients, and I give them something which they remember in their lifetime. We manage, we skräddarsy, we say in Norwegian, we skräddarsy, we tailor-make the programs for the families, for the couples, honeymooners, for small groups, and even large groups. And what we are unique with Africa is that we follow you, we offer you personal services. When you depart from Garden, and when you come back, we still follow you. Keep in contact. So for you is to relax, take your passport, arrive in Africa, and you are free. Don't cover anything else. We have a lot of clients who are repeat clients, and those are our ambassadors. They have been to Africa and they repeat, they keep on booking it to exist until now. From those clients who come back, they talk to their families, they tell them how Africa is. And in case you really want more information about us, I'm not going to talk a lot, you can meet me outside there. And I'll present to you the basic programs, which are very low standard and the high standard, and I'll show you the different kind, because there are very many different types of the safaris. Yeah. So I'm going to stop there and say thank you for hearing me, and look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Sister Rosemary. That is what power is for. That is what power can do. And that is what power has been doing and is still doing. Giving platform to women, empowering women. And I'm very grateful to power, that give people like Rosemary a platform to be able to showcase ourselves. That is just what it's all about. The next person on this program, I call him my brother, Raymond Sereba, has been doing these things for many years, showcasing the African culture, in different ways, in music, in dancing, in our folklores, and that is what he will be here to do again today. Brother Sereba is accompanied by a young lady. I'm sorry I don't know her name, but I'll be giving her a platform, to introduce herself when they come on stage. Please welcome them on stage. This is a beautiful young African talent. Please, before you go on with your program, I would like you to introduce yourself briefly.
Yeah, I'm Zikia Masters Hayen, and I'm a jazz guitarist, and I'm playing with Raymond. So.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tusen takk. Jeg med meg denne unge jente som heter Zikia. Som han sa I stad, at det viktig for meg å ha med all den erfaringen jeg har, og ha med meg noen unge folk som skal ta med seg den erfaringen videre. Som vi sier I Afrika, når en veldig gammel person dør, det nesten som en bibliotek som forsvinner, ikke sant? Derfor jeg alltid med meg noen yngre som får litt mer erfaring. I dag jeg med Zikia, og jeg har hatt med henne flere ganger. Vi skal ha en kjærlighetssang som heter Kokadinje. Kokadinje, det en savn og en reise, og savn til mammaen min. Eba. Eba. Africa, oh yeah. Africa, oh yeah. Kwanyeta malila kwaiya. Kwaiya. Africa, oh yeah. Iba. Wanyeta malila suma samena kokadinye soma munuyeya hole ulele ha wa hole ulele ha kokadinye ne bife. Kokadinye ne bife. Kokadinye ne bife. Samabulea itara namilelema salamaye oh namilelema salamania namilelema kokadinye ne bife. Ukadinyene bifea. Ukadinyene bifea. Eva, there we go. Når jeg ser her masse damer og menn, og jeg tenker på min mor også. Ja, jeg husker da jeg var en liten gutt hjemme. Jeg husker at hver eneste natt satt moren min ved et bord og sydde klær. Og jeg lå under det bordet der og sov. Mens mamma jobbet hele natta. Symaskinen gikk. Og jeg sov og hørte at mammaen min sang. Ja, mamma, hun sang bestandig mens hun jobbet. Det gjorde hun. Og da jeg våknet, det første jeg så var føttene til mamma. Og så sandalene hennes, og så kjolen hennes. Jeg våknet og kom meg opp og så mamma i øynene for å si hei til mamma. Og det første hun sa til meg var, Raymond, gå og vask deg i ansiktet ditt. Ja, det er slik hos oss. Når du våknet på morgenen, det er veldig viktig at du går ut og vasker deg i ansiktet før du snakker med noen. Og hvis du gjør det, betyr det lykke for dagen. Ja. Og da jeg gikk og vasket meg i ansiktet og kom tilbake, og mamma, hun sto slik. Hun hadde symaskin på hodet sitt slik. Og i hånden hadde mamma en stor pose. Og den posen, den var fullt av de klærne mamma sydde den natta. Og hun var på vei til markedet. Og hvis vi var heldige den dagen, at mamma fikk solgt noen klær, da fikk vi også mat. Jeg tenker på mamma hele tiden. Jeg husker at det var en tøff dame. Veldig sterk dame. Hun var 12 stykker i familien. Og hun måtte være veldig sterk. Det er en ting hun hadde, som jeg har tatt med meg alltid. Det er smilet hennes. Hun ga kjærlighet. Da hun smilte til meg, det kom ut diamanter, det kom ut gull, det kom ut kjærlighet inn i hjertet på meg. Og den kjærligheten har jeg tatt med meg helt til Norge. Jeg har levd her. Jeg husker da jeg reiser tilbake igjen, av og til ser jeg henne for noen år siden. Hun sitter på en liten krok og ser på meg. Der bare. Jeg sier, mamma, hva er det? Er dette deg? Ja, det er meg. Men, som sagt, tidene går, og folk blir borte. Og da mamma døde, jeg var her. Jeg kom ned Elfenbenskysten, og jeg ble hentet på kvelden til sykehuset for å besøke henne. Jeg kom, og de åpnet. Da sto mamma. Unnskyld? Da lå mamma. Jeg så på henne. Jeg ba folk gå ut. Og jeg så på henne lenge, lenge, og tårene rant, og rant, og rant. Men plutselig begynte jeg å smile til henne. Ja, jeg ble smittet av hennes smil. Selv om hun var liggende og død. Jeg ble smittet, og det smil gjorde at jeg smilte og smilte, for det er slik jeg kjenner henne. Det er slik jeg ville ha henne. Det er det bildet jeg ville ha inni hodet mitt av henne. Og hver kveld jeg gikk på sykehuset og ba dem åpne, så på henne, gråt og smilte. Det var deilig, selv om mamma var død. Jeg har bodd her i mange år. Jeg har bodd her i mer enn 35 år. Og da, en gang, min sønn, en av mine sønner, tenåringer, hadde kjempestore problemer med mamma. For de vet mammaene, vet du, de er på. Ta for gutta. Og gutten, han var så sint. Han var så sint. Vi var alle bekymret for ham. En dag hadde han vært litt slem mot mammaen sin. Og jeg tok han. Sett deg her. Først straffet jeg han. Og så tok jeg han, sett deg her. Så sa jeg til han, vet du hva? Vet du hva? Dette er din mamma. Jeg er din far. Du kommer til å ha bare en mamma. Og det er hun, den eneste du har. Ja, og så sier han, nei, hun sier sånn til meg, hun sier sånn til deg. Så vet du hva? Hun skal si til deg akkurat hva hun vil. Og det får hun lov av meg. Fordi du har bare henne, og det er den eneste mor du har. Du kommer ikke til å ha en annen. Og det fikk hun lov å si hva hun vil til deg. Forstår du det? Siden da, gutten ble helt fint. Helt flott gutt. I dag, de 3 guttene jeg har, de har klart seg. Og jeg er en av dem som er en av Norges topper i musikkbransjen. Og hvis dere har hørt en gang, og en gruppe som heter Nico Vince, jeg er pappa til en av dem. Og nå skal vi avslutte med en låt som heter Entré.
You know what? I'm speechless. After our brother here, we know him for so many years. I knew him, maybe he was about 25 years old. That was when Wangari Maathai was here. So I was shocked to see him because they have been talking about Raymond, and then I say, wow. So when I saw him, I was shocked. I remember he gave us it was a kind of a play, and that one is still lingers in my mind up to now, and so many people are impressed about him. What inspired me is that whoever heard about this poem he was giving, I saw a lot of ladies, I don't know whether men were crying too, a lot of ladies were crying here. And I had my handkerchief with me, so I was lucky. So, but this music of him, he made everyone to laugh and forget about them. Wonderful. Unfortunately, we had only flowers. I'm sure he's going to give the girl, but because flowers are for girls, I'm so, you know what, believe me, you inspired us. He portrayed our beautiful continent, Africa. Through his songs, through his poem, he gave us a clear picture of Africa. And no matter how far we are, Africa will always be our priority. And please, thank you so much for the kind of message you have given to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Please be coming to our place. We don't have much party, but we are privileged to have this group here with us. Thank you.